This is my local landfill. The word weald is thought to derive from the Old English term for forest, indicating that this area was once covered with woodland. The area is first mentioned in the literature as Waldus in 1303 and later as Weald in 1382. It was not referred to as Harrow Weald until 1553. You see the squirrels going up the tree in the background. So by 1759, the wilderness had halved, leaving 300 hectares, 741 acres of Harrow Weald Common. It shrunk further and today covers 18 hectares. It's remained more or less constant around this size since 1928. During the 18th century, it was a haunt for highwaymen and footpads. So that was around the time of the second Duke of Chandos. He lived up here amongst highwaymen and footpads. It suffered in the 19th century, and that was around the time of the third Duke of Chandos, who's the one who built Stanmore Hall. And this second Duke of Chandos, there's a really interesting story about his wife, whom he bought from an innkeeper. It's quite a story. And the second Duke of Chandos built Stanmore Hall, and that's what was bought by Darcy Wentworth. Not Darcy Wentworth. The other. Darcy Wentworth Thompson was the biologist, so the other guy was somebody Darcy. I'm completely messed up. Anyway, he's the one who first got the rights to the Anglo-Persian oil rights, which became Anglo-Iranian and then BP, but via a German company that owned it. The thing is that they used to cut peat and then 1899 so the extraction processes were the undulating terrain of the Weald Common, a constant reminder of the history of gravel extraction. But the gravel extraction was for building the roads. But it doesn't say when gravel extraction happened. I presume after 1899. But that was most of the commoners' rights were removed. So perhaps it was around 1880s. or mid-19th century it was dug for roads. It's not clear. Here's the act. I don't know if these guys have read it. So I was thinking again about how trees grow. If you also study the wood, the different conditions of growth will produce different types of wood. And there might actually be they'll have different properties. The wood from one of those trees that grows quickly up to get at the light and doesn't put out many lower branches is going to be different wood to the ones that grow out in the open. I thought about that in Bolivia as well, the way they use the wood in the forests. They have these beautiful trees called Mara, and it's a very lightweight, it's peculiar wood. You imagine a cross between kind of Pareto optimal point between balsa and mahogany, and you'll get some idea of Mara. It's light, but somehow it's got a kind of rigidity to it, and I couldn't help thinking about speaker cabinets for loud hi-fis when I'm wondering what they would sound like. But the way they use Mara in San Jose is kind of horrific. The wood's very durable. They use it for the keel of a boat, a riverboat. You can bash rocks and things, and the keel will survive with just cosmetic damage. And they used it kind of 50-50 mixed with cedro for flooring in the tourist lodges at I've forgotten the name. The bird watching lodge at Tumapasa. But the trees are very hard to come by now. I tried to get people in San Jose to kind of think about working together again, because they used to do it in the past. They had various systems, troiki, and systems of labor exchange, which pretty much all fell apart when they started using money. And there's a complete failure of community trust, so they don't work together now unless you've got the money up front to pay your labor. You don't get any help on your land. But they also have communal land rights, because the village is in a national park, and they have rights because they were there before it was a national National Park, they have rights of they can cut down virgin forest and plant rice if they want to. There were various people who went there and tried to restore some sense of community. A Norwegian guy called Lars was one of the most interesting, and some of the ideas that I heard attributed to Lars were just jaw-dropping. And Lars disappeared suddenly, and I think his family still don't know what happened to him. Simon Chapman knows the story, or some of it. But yeah, I wanted to do a Hatata project because Hatata produces a very, very nice roofing material. These panels that shed water very well, and they're very lightweight. And they come from a palm that doesn't grow much higher than 3 meters. But the areas where the Hatata grow are more and more removed from the villages because they used it up, and nobody knew how to replant them. But there were other projects in other parts of the same park. There was one near Runabaki where they'd learnt how to produce sustainable sources for this Hatata. But yeah, being able to organize communities and somehow, some way to restore trust so that people don't feel their work is being wasted. Lars introduced dairy farming, motivated by nutrition needs of children. But he also apparently introduced semi-automatic weapons for hunting, again presumably motivated by nutrition needs of children, but must have had devastating consequences on the monkey population. And somebody hunting a troop of monkeys with a semi-automatic rifle. But they did it. Lars also had a hydroelectricity plan. In that forest they have turpentine rivers, the rivers that just run with turpentine floating on the top, and it's natural tree turpentine, but it doesn't burn very cleanly, it's a bit sooty. They only used it for carnival type torches. And you get a stick, you wrap some cloth around the end, soak it in turpentine, and then parade around the village with a smoking, flaming torch. I'm going to go back because it's forecast rain. Actually, it stopped.